2019 meeting of the town board. Before we begin and have the clerk call the roll, I would just like to take a moment to remember Karen Johnson. She passed away yesterday morning. Karen was a longtime public servant. She served as Schenectady's mayor. She was the first female mayor elected as the city of Schenectady mayor. Up until yesterday, she also served as the vice chairwoman of the county legislature. So we offer our condolences to her family. We also offer our gratitude for her service. She was an incredible lady. There will be big shoes to fill. So if we could all just take a moment of silence. Thank you. And with that, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Here.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Here.
Councilwoman Weber.
Here.
Supervisor Syed.
Here. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Councilman McPartlin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Before we move on into our regularly scheduled town board meeting, we are going to take some time to do our ceremonial resolutions first. We're going to begin with the younger crowd because I'm sure you probably want to get out here pretty soon. So we're going to start with our ceremonial resolutions honoring the Niskayuna crew team. So if Councilwoman Weber would like to make that presentation now, that would be wonderful.
Hi, can I have all of our rowers receiving a resolution tonight to come up, our state and national champions? Come on up. I am so honored and thrilled to be giving you your town ceremonial resolutions tonight. I know how hard you work. I know how early in the year your season starts, just as soon as the ice melts on the Mohawk River. I know all the weather that you have to endure and how long and hard you practice, and how many weekends in May you spent, even missing Niska Day, to be out of town doing state competition regattas and the Stotesbury one and the national one in Ohio, and your success is even that much sweeter because I know you balanced your school and other responsibilities on top of that, and I really want to congratulate you on your hard work and your success at the same time. So I'm going to start with our state champion rowers reading their resolution, and then I'll have a separate resolution for the national winners as well, and your coaches as well. Okay, a resolution honoring the Niskayuna crew team's women's freshman quad, men's freshman quad, and women's junior quad as New York State champions. Whereas, at the Spring 2019 New York State Scholastic Rowing Association State Championships held on May 12, 2019 on Fish Creek in Saratoga Springs, New York, the women's freshman quad, men's freshman quad, and women's junior quad all won the gold medal. Now therefore, be it resolved that the members of the Niskayuna Town Board congratulate the following members of the Niskayuna crew team and their coaches as New York State champions. The women's freshman quad are Jordan Zenner, Rebecca Schechter, Stella Merkovic, Samantha Castle. Coaches, Stacy Applebaum and Sabrina, is it? Skatarzak, okay, thank you. The men's freshman quad is Adam Conrad, Jeffrey Chen, Daniel Kelly, and Derek New. Coaches, Sean O'Brien and Erin, and I'll ask you for help with this last name too. Zuppel, okay. Women's Junior Quad is Madeline Castle, Heather Schmidt, Leslie Abad Nagu, and Jacqueline Lazik. Coaches, Stacy Applebaum and Sabrina Skatarzik. Signed by our town supervisor and all of the members of the Niskayuna Town Board. Okay, now let's see if the coaches want to say a couple words about these state champions.
This group of athletes has had a tremendous year. They are here before you now and ended up on the medal podium through sheer hard work. They made a commitment to their sport, to the craft of rowing, and they put in the hours that were necessary to be successful, and it showed. And they were all exciting races in lots of different ways, but so much fun to watch. And as they proceeded to go on, we look forward to seeing more excitement and success from all these athletes.
Thank you so much. Now if I could just have that one champion. Just step forward for the second resolution. Okay. A resolution honoring the Niskayuna Crew team's women's junior quad as national champions. Be it enacted by the town board of the town of Niskayuna as followed. Whereas at the Spring 2019 National Scholastic Rowing Championship held on May 25th, 2019 on Dillon Lake in Nashport, Ohio, the women's junior quad won the gold medal by beating the 9 qualifying teams. Now therefore be it resolved that the members of the Niskayuna Town Board congratulate the following members of the Niskayuna Crew team's women's junior quad and their coaches as national champions. The rowers are Madeline Castle, Heather Schmidt, Leslie Abad Nagu, Jacqueline Lasik. Congratulations, ladies. And of course, their coaches, Stacy Applebaum and Sabrina Skatarzik. Congratulations. And if you have anything to say about this special group of young ladies.
I do. One thing that was amazing about this race, they won by a fairly large margin, which is unusual at the national championships, but their time would have had them winning the senior quad as well. The junior quad is athletes in 11th grade and younger, and they would have won the senior quad as well. So I'm extremely proud of these girls.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Be the grandmother. I love it. It all started with you. Remember that.
And really quickly, before I move on to the next two, is Cecilia Kane present? Okay. We will present this to her either at the next meeting or I can mail it to her. But regardless, I do want to make mention of Cecilia Kane. And actually, if I could have Ange Morris join me at the front. Ange is the Executive Director for the Schenectady County Commission on Human Rights. So for a minute, we'll pretend that Ange is Cecilia so I can read this. So this is Resolution 2019-170. It's a resolution honoring a Schenectady County Human Rights Commission MLK Coalition Scholarship recipient. Be it enacted by the Town Board of the Town of Niskayuna as follows. Whereas each year the Schenectady County Human Rights Commission MLK Coalition seeks nominations for students to be awarded with a college scholarship through the Ralph F. Boyd Sr. Award. And whereas Mr. Ralph F. Boyd Sr. was instrumental in starting the Schenectady County chapter of the NAACP, the Carver Community Center, the Head Start program at SCAP, and the Baptist Retirement Center. He was active in the Veterans of Foreign Wars and earned the Distinguished Service Award and 2 Bronze Stars in World War II. And whereas Cecilia Kane, being one of those award finalists, has demonstrated that she reflects the same commitment to human rights as Mr. Boyd Sr., and whereas Cecilia Kane demonstrated a commitment of time and effort to programs, projects, or initiatives focusing on human and civil rights, now therefore be it resolved that this town board, on behalf of all residents of the town of Niskayuna, congratulates Cecilia Kane on her scholarship award and for the positive impact that she has made to the Niskayuna High School community, our town, and the county. So congratulations, Cecilia. Don't go anywhere, Ange. We have more. If I could be joined at the front by the Schenectady Clergy Against Hate. Sure. I'm going to read the ceremonial resolution. This is Resolution 2019-171. It's a resolution honoring Schenectady County Human Rights Award Community Group Awardee, Schenectady Clergy Against Hate. Be it enacted by the Town Board of the Town of Niskayuna as follows. Whereas Schenectady Clergy Against Hate works to promote harmony, respect, and fellowship, and whereas Schenectady Clergy Against Hate is a nonpartisan, multi-faith, and interfaith pastoral voice through a sharing of unique and common religious teachings, works to foster understanding of one another and speaks out against hatred, bigotry, and discrimination. And whereas Schenectady Clergy Against Hate, through volunteerism, fundraisers, protests, vigils, and worship, unites together as a voice of peace and love. And whereas each year the Schenectady County Human Rights Commission seeks nominations for community groups to award in order to acknowledge and express appreciation for their contributions in improving the human and civil rights of Schenectady County residents. Now, therefore, be it hereby resolved that this town board, on behalf of all residents of the town of Niskayuna, congratulates the members of Schenectady Clergy Against Hate for their tireless efforts. Congratulations. Anja, if you would like to say a few words.
Well, thank you for inviting me to be here, to the town supervisor and to the town boards and every resident of Niskayuna. Listen, I live in Rotterdam, but I'm also a resident of Niskayuna because I work out at Vent Fitness. I'm there every day. So isn't that a resident requirement that if you're there every day, I'm a resident of Niskayuna? But with all jokes aside, I love Niskayuna. I have family and friends in Niskayuna. My grandparents live on Lister Hill Road for the last 60 years. So I know about Niskayuna. I've been working in this county for many years. And I just want to say thank you for the residents of Niskayuna for making sure that human rights, civil rights, and social justice is at the forefront. Niskayuna is one of the largest but diverse towns here in Schenectady. You have a large population of people of color from all walks of life and all nations. And so you should be proud that you are making sure that human rights, civil rights, and social justice are being at the forefront here in this county, in this region, and also in the state, because as we're going through this country, we're seeing that rights are being violated. And so the group today that we have recognized, we recognized them 3 weeks ago at the awards breakfast where we had 300 people, 7 in the morning, and it was a Schenectady Oscars. And everybody didn't know who was the winner, but I was the only one who knew who was the winner. And there was 35 nominees, and what it is that we recognize community groups, individuals, people in the justice field, and youth that is doing the work on behalf of human rights, civil rights, and social justice, and advancing the principles of Dr. King. And so at the breakfast, we recognized not only the Schenectady Clergy Against Hate, we also recognized Cecilia Kane, who was one of the recipients of the MLK Scholarship, but she got a surprise, and the surprise was $500. She didn't make the cut, but I got an extra $2,500, and so I gave it to all the kids who applied, and that was 10 kids from around the county. All school districts applied, and all the kids who applied, they got a watch, a nice watch from Rivers Casino, and the top winners got $1,000, and the rest of the kids who didn't make the cut, they got $500. We gave over I gave over $8,500 in scholarships this year. Years before, historically, Niskayuna always came at the top, students. So the MLK Coalition, they're giving monies to Niskayuna, has been close to $8,000 to students in Niskayuna. So we are proud to be partners and collaborators with Niskayuna, as well as the winners of this year's Oscars of Schenectady, the Schenectady Clergy Against Hate. They're doing the work that is in Schenectady and in Niskayuna, but they're doing the work on behalf of human rights, standing against hatred, bigotry, racism, all those isms that we are facing today on the national level, state level, and also keep it local too. Niskayuna was in the paper a lot last year. There's real issues, but people like Schenectady Clergy Against Hate, Cecilia Kane, we had a group, Progressive Schenectady, that was recognized for their work of advocacy for women's rights. Women's rights are at the top. So we're coming together as a county to make sure you are being respected and protected. And it's me that I'm out in the grounds working with police departments, working with elected officials, such as your town board, your town supervisors, all the elected officials, business leaders, and school districts to make sure our kids are getting a quality education. So thank you for letting me be here to recognize this tremendous and exceptional group of clergy that are at the forefront, raising the banner of justice, making sure that the spiritual advising of our community is being out there and that people could come to them for comfort, for faith, and for guidance, because that's what we need right now. We need more love, not hate. We need more unity and then barriers. And we need to tear down the walls that divides us, because we are one people. We are one nation under God, indivisible, for justice, for fairness, equity, and equality. And we are one under one America. And that is us, that is Niskayuna, that is Schenectady. We are New Yorkers. We should be proud. And we are Niskayunians, if that's a name.
I'd like to add some words of praise for Schenectady Clergy Against Hate. I'd like to congratulate them for being awarded the Group Human Rights Award. If I could just get your attention for a couple of minutes over there as you bring your awards back to your seat. In the 2.5 years since your group was created in response to the increasing tide of hatred in this country aimed at ethnic and religious minority groups, Schenectady Clergy Against Hate has added tremendous value to our community. I have attended several of their events. Unfortunately, many were gatherings for healing necessitated after unconscionable acts of violence. At each such gathering, I have felt a sense of peace and solidarity, being surrounded by members of many different ethnic and religious groups, coming together in mutual friendship and support. With clergy from multiple faiths participating, each person who attends learns and gains an appreciation about beliefs and traditions outside their own faith. And this is the key to understanding and appreciating each other as human beings. The work you do, Schenectady Clergy Against Hate, is essential, and I am thrilled to be voting in support of the ceremonial resolution later this evening. So congratulations for this wonderful award that you received. It's definitely very well deserved.
And the question was asked, who were those 3 good-looking, accomplished gentlemen who were up here? We forgot to mention their names. Rabbi Cutler, thank you for joining us. Rabbi Ted Lichtenfield, thank you very much for joining us. And Reverend Robert Long, thank you for your service to our community and for being here this evening.
Okay. We're going to move on to approval of the minutes. First, we have the minutes from the regular town board meeting of November 15, 2018. If I could have a second to approve.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Can I have a second on that motion? I will second. Denise, do you want a second?
Sure.
Okay. Are there any changes to these minutes?
No,
Okay.
these look good.
With no changes, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, those minutes are approved. Next, we have the minutes from the special town board meeting of December 4th, 2018. If I could have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Lisa, thank you. Are there any changes to these minutes?
No.
Okay, with no changes, all those in favor signified by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, these minutes are approved. Next, we have the minutes from the regular town board meeting of December 18, 2018. If I could have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Bill. Can I have a second on that motion?
Second.
Thank you, Denise. Are there any changes to these minutes?
No.
Okay, without any changes, all those in favor signified by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And these minutes are approved. Next, we have the minutes from the special town board meeting of January 8th, 2019. Can I have a motion to approve these minutes?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Lisa. Are there any changes to these minutes? Okay, without any changes, all those in favor signified by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And these minutes are approved. Next, we have the minutes from the regular town board meeting of January 22nd, 2019. If I could have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Lisa. Any changes to these minutes?
I do have a slight change on this one. In my committee report, the second line after the word year, there should be a period. The next word should be capitalized, new sentence, it should be there. And then under Transportation and Public Facilities Committee, it should be Councilwoman McGraw thanked instead of thank the highway superintendent. And that's, those are the changes I have.
Mine says thanked. What was that first change?
Under my committee report,
Mm-hmm.
it says,
Under community programs?
yeah,
Okay. And where was the change? I just want to make sure I'm noting it correctly.
after February school break camps.
Okay. And what is the change?
Just a period there
Oh, okay.
after this year, camps this year. And then it should be they will include,
Okay.
Okay.
and that's my change.
Thanks. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other changes? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye for the minutes as amended.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the minutes as amended are approved. Lastly, we have the minutes from the regular town board meeting of February 26, 2019. If I could have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. I have a second.
Second.
Thank you, Lisa. Are there any changes to these minutes?
No.
Okay, without any changes, all those in favor signified by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And these minutes are approved. We're now going to move on to privilege of the floor. Privilege of the floor is now open. If you would like to speak during privilege of the floor, please state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Tom Hodgkins. I live on Rosendale Road. I have two things to talk about tonight. The first one is the turf management plan that was released today. 14 days ago at the last town board meeting, it was on the agenda that there's going to be a public meeting tonight, and that public hearing is still scheduled for tonight. But I propose that you table the public meeting until you give people a chance to read the turf management plan. I looked yesterday for the turf management plan on the town website. I couldn't find it. It was up there today. So less than 12 hours before the public hearing. So I would appreciate it. I haven't had a chance to read it. I'm not going to be speaking on it. It's something that's of interest of mine. And I would like to provide some feedback, but I can't do that because I haven't read it yet, because it was only released today. So I request that you table the public hearing so the public has a chance to actually read the document that you're holding the public hearing on. Second item is the participatory budgeting community forum. We're going to have that on June 17th from 7 o'clock to 8:30 in the Niskuna Little Theater. We are going to have the town supervisor with us, the superintendent of the school district. I am going to be there talking about some participatory budgeting programs that have been implemented in New York State. And Dr. Guillermo Seri from Union College, she's an associate professor, she's going to be there, and she's going to be talking about the history of participatory budgeting and some of the theory behind it. Then after we do all that, we're going to, it's participatory budgeting, so everybody has to get involved, right? So after that, we're going to be breaking into groups and discussing about some key decision points, and we're going to have the groups report back to the rest of the group, and then we're going to vote on some of the key decision points about, what age should people participate in participatory budgeting? Should it be 14? Should it be 12? Should it be no age limit? So we're going to have people discussing these key critical points, and then people are going to be voting on it, so we can kind of come out with an actual, be a working meeting, so everybody's going to be there and working on the framework of something that we can hopefully move forward and implement. So I hope you can all make it. It's, once again, it's June 17th, 7 o'clock at the Niskayuna High School Little Theater. Okay, thank you.
I just want to address Mr. Hodgkins' issue. Is there a time, can we postpone it? Because that is a very legitimate part. I think it just, something happened with it going out on the website. So you raised an excellent point. I'm more than willing, I take this very seriously. I know you're very interested in it, and thank you for your, I'm just looking at the people who have to submit it to the state. Can we wait until the next meeting? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hodgkins.
Lorene Zabin, 2455 Brookshire Drive. I only want to bring this up because of the last meeting that I was at that I mentioned the overcrowding. Now, tonight, before the crew team left, we had approximately 112. I did not get anyone standing in the doorway because I couldn't see them. I want to again ask that you be aware, I believe, of the dangers we have of overcrowding. We had several rows of little children sitting on the floor. I'm not sure anyone has an idea of all the exits and what the procedure would be if there was a problem. As you know, this is only for our concern, my concern, your concern. I think that some of the wonderful presentations should be done an hour before town board meetings. That might eliminate overcrowding, and then we have enough capacity for the people that want to speak at the town board or be here. I don't think it would be inconvenient for you to come an hour early to have your proclamations. Most of the people are friends, relatives. Most of us who are beyond the age of having children in school or on teams wouldn't be here. We would come later for the town board meeting. But it was a disaster that could have been, and I am very concerned that this town, as much as we think it's so special and we don't have strange people that might invade us, they didn't think so at the synagogues, they didn't think so at Virginia Beach, they didn't think of the schools that have been inundated with disasters. So I really think, I would hope that the supervisor and town board would address this. I think it's a concern for our safety here. And I thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is John Lemelin. I live at 1106 Glen Meadow Court in Niskayuna. I moved to Niskayuna with my family in 2001. Over the past 18 years, we have absolutely fallen in love with Niskayuna, walking our dog in the neighborhood, shopping at the farmers markets, and running on the bike path. Like many of you, we love the small town, friendly community, the parade, Niski Day, the whole deal. That's the good news. I'm here to tell you that the political attacks during the last 2 school board elections have made me sick. I won't go into the details because I'm sure you're well aware of these attacks. In 2015, for example, some bad actors launched a vicious attack on 3 school board candidates through an anonymous website and mailer. In 2019, we saw another very similar anonymous mailer attacking another school board member, a candidate. And last week, thanks to some investigative reporting by the Times-Union, we learned that there was fraudulent activities involved in several politically motivated Facebook advertisements. Let me be clear, I am not here to dispute the outcomes of any election. I am here to express my concern about these very disturbing incidents. These anonymous political attacks are dishonest and wrong. They undermine healthy political discourse and clearly violate the New York State Fair Campaign Law. They are toxic to our community and our faith in fair and transparent elections. As the elected representatives of over 20,000 Niskayuna residents, I urge you to act. Our town is under attack by what is probably a very small group of dishonest and cowardly bad actors. We need you to protect Niskayuna and the integrity of our future elections. I ask you to please consider the following 3 actions. 1, revise the Town of Niskayuna Code of Ethics to make it clear that this type of anonymous and vile political attacks are not acceptable, and empower the Niskayuna Ethics Panel to investigate and enforce this rule. Pass a new town law to make anonymous political attacks in all local elections, including school board elections, illegal and punishable by criminal code. 3, file a claim with the Niskayuna Police Department or the New York State Police to fully investigate the fraudulent activity on Facebook that was reported in the recent Times Union article. I believe each of these 3 actions are very doable and will help deter this type of disgraceful political attacks in the future. I look forward to hearing your response. Thank you. And I've got a hard copy for the clerk.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Hi, my name is Sonny Lee, 117 Comanche Trail.
Katie Chow, 109 Deanna Court. And Linnell Engelmeyer, 1354 Hawthorne Road.
We are here as long-term residents of Niskayuna and leaders of Progressive Schenectady. Jill, our 4th, could not join us because she is at another important event. At the conclusion of these remarks, we will make our written statement available for the record and for anyone else who would like a copy. The 4 of us collectively wrote these comments, and each of us stands by every word. We understand a resolution recognizing Progressive Schenectady and our work over the past 2.5 years was pulled from the agenda just today because our organization is political. And as such, it was determined hours ago that it is inappropriate for the town to recognize our work. That's okay. We don't do our work to be recognized. Our mission has never been to endorse candidates, but to educate voters and encourage civic involvement. We have also demonstrated care for the community around us, regardless of party affiliation, by raising funds, collecting goods for a variety of causes. We certainly do not do any of this for public recognition, and I'm not up here to cry sour grapes because we weren't recognized. However, I can tell you that none of us, the 4 of us, were surprised that the resolution, which we learned about more than 2 weeks ago, was pulled just hours ago. You see, Progressive Schenectady very recently took swift action when it was revealed that a Facebook page run by a sitting board member, who also happens to be the chairperson of the Democratic Committee, attempted to undermine the integrity of our organization. Let me explain. On June 6th, the Times Union featured an article about the anonymous and incendiary postcards that were sent against school board candidate Pat Lenati. Right here. The anonymity and the intent of the postcards was mean-spirited and divisive. A part of that June 6th article reported that paid ads on a Facebook page for a group called the Niskayuna Progressive Action Committee attributed these postcards to us, Progressive Schenectady, Greta Jansen, and Supervisor Syed. Specifically, one purchased ad that was posted said, "Congratulations, Progressive Schenectady and Greta, the postcards worked." The other purchased ad said, "Congratulations, Yasmin Syed, the postcard worked." According to the Times Union article, and by her own admission, Councilwoman McGraw is the primary administrator of Niskayuna's Progressive Action Committee's Facebook page, where these false ads appeared. The article also reports that Niskayuna Town Democratic Committee is affiliated with that Facebook page. Let that sink in. The Niskayuna Progressive Action Committee's Facebook page is run by Councilwoman McGraw, but does not have a publicly listed administrator. How is that for transparency? This Facebook page, which posted false ads to mislead our community about our organization and others, is affiliated with the Town Democratic Committee, whose tagline is, "Keep it factual, keep it transparent, and keep it local." How hypocritical. For 2.5 years, we have been vocal critics of the political tactics employed by the Republican Party at the national level. As lifelong Democrats, we find it upsetting that an elected Democrat and the chair of the Niskayuna Democratic Party is willing to engage in the same type of behavior. Councilwoman McGraw told the Times-Union reporter that her Facebook account was compromised and that there was fraudulent activity and that she was horrified to find out about the false ads. She claimed that she had applied to buy ads but had not been approved by Facebook. Contrary to her assertions, there are several ads that were purchased and posted on that Facebook page in the weeks before the offending ads that I'm talking about. Furthermore, her actions since the Times-Union article of June 6th are inconsistent with the actions of someone who is horrified to see the false and misleading ads. The Niskayuna Progressive Action Committee's Facebook page is still up. The offending ads accusing Progressive Schenectady and others are still viewable with just a couple of clicks. As of 6 o'clock today, I checked. Progressive Schenectady has not received an apology or any explanation from her for why or how these ads appeared on the Facebook page that she runs. The leadership of Progressive Schenectady evaluated the information in the TU article, along with other similarly disturbing and offensive behavior that she has exhibited on social media. She was one of almost 500 members of Progressive Schenectady's Facebook page. Based on the totality of the evidence demonstrating that she did not support our values, along with the information in the Times-Union article, we revoked Councilwoman McGraw's access to our Facebook page. On June 7th, a detailed letter along with documentary evidence supporting our decision was sent to Councilwoman McGraw. We have not made that letter public because we believe that even she deserves that courtesy. However, upon request, we will make the letter available to the town and the county Democratic committees, as well as the sitting town board members and candidates. A Niskayuna town police officer has confirmed that Facebook account hacking is a crime. Was Councilwoman McGraw's account hacked? If so, a crime was committed. Or was it not hacked? Did she create and or approve, pay for, and post the false ads on the Niskayuna Progressive Action Committee's Facebook page? If so, what should the consequences be? Fortunately, there is a way to get at a definitive answer to these questions, and that is for a full investigation to be conducted, starting with a complaint by Councilwoman McGraw to the Niskayuna Police Department. While the actions taken against Progressive Schenectady are morally reprehensible, the sponsored ad against Supervisor Syed, which is still viewable, may be legally actionable. The false ads appear to be in violation of State Board of Elections' Fair Campaign Code, which prohibits political practices that undermine the electoral process by the preparation or distribution of any fraudulent or falsely identified writing. We have copies of that code for distribution as well. If we want the quality of our government and governance to improve, we can't just call out the other political party for their bad acts. We need to hold our own political party accountable. We have taken action by speaking out. The town board and the candidates, the Democratic candidates for town office, should take action as well. Just today on the Niskayuna Democratic Committee's Facebook page, the Democratic candidates for office took a wonderful community-first pledge to keep it factual, keep it transparent, and keep it local. Councilwoman McGraw's behaviors and actions have been anything but. So having taken the pledge, it should not be a great leap for the Democratic candidates to denounce their chairperson's actions. We call on Councilwoman Lisa Weber, Councilman Bill McPartlin, John Delarada, along with the town office candidates Rosemary Perez-Jaquith, Michelle Martinelli, and Supervisor Syed, to issue a public statement condemning Councilwoman McGraw's actions as unacceptable, especially from an elected official and chairperson of the Niskayuna Democratic Committee. Finally, we call on Councilwoman McGraw to file a complaint with the town police immediately to investigate the hacking of her Facebook account. And in the interest of transparency, make all findings of that investigation available to the public. Thank you for taking the time to hear us and to working to ensure that all politics are in fact factual, transparent, and local.
Thank you.
One moment, please. Mr. Briggs, would you please address why that resolution was pulled?
Point of order. Point of order. Privilege of the floor is not for rebuttal.
No, it is not. It's for clarification, though. I can point to a staff member to speak. I can do it after you're finished, if you'd like, and after
Yes.
everybody is finished.
Thank you.
That's fine. But I will.
My name
be
is
asking the
Amy
attorney.
Kowalski at 2833 Whitmire Drive. At the last town board meeting, the board suggested that residents, quote, show respect, unquote, during privilege of the floor by limiting their comments to 3 minutes. Nowhere in the town code are people limited during privilege of the floor. While I acknowledge that long comments make for a longer meeting, and that I myself have often spoken for a chunk of time, limiting a person's comments is not a good way to engage the public or to, quote, show respect, unquote, for residents who take the time and energy and courage to express their concerns in a public, televised format. Nor is it a good way to increase transparency. And there have been many residents who have complained about the lack of transparency in Niskayuna's government dealings. I, for one, respectfully decline to limit myself to 3 minutes. Also, at the last town board meeting, Attorney Briggs timed at least one person who spoke at this podium. Ms. Zabin was called out by Attorney Briggs for being, quote, well into her 4th minute, unquote. Ms. Zabin soldiered on and completed her comments, but a less stalwart resident might have backed down and returned to their chair, unable to finish speaking about their valid concerns. Later, 2 other men and I all spoke longer than 3 minutes, but none of us were reprimanded by the board. At the finance meeting just before this meeting tonight, town board members and employees discussed paying $1,117 for a timer to flash lights to limit speakers at this microphone. They were laughing and joking that it would be great if the timer would automatically shut off the microphone at the end of the 3 minutes so speakers would be cut off mid-sentence. Residents, I speak to you. These are your elected officials laughing and joking about limiting your comments, and I find it appalling. There were 2 reporters in that room, Ms. Mallory and Mr. Jeff, from the Times-Union and the Gazette. I hope that you recorded that. I did, and if people want to hear it at the end, I will meet you in the hallway and I will let you listen to it. Additionally, at the last town board meeting during privilege of the floor, after I raised concerns about a fire at the wastewater treatment facility, Councilwoman McGraw asked the head of the Sewer and Water Department, Mr. Yetto, to come to the microphone to rebuke my comments. Later, after another gentleman brought up concerns about the disparity of salaries given to summer lifeguards at the town pool, Councilwoman Weber asked the head of the Community Programs Department, Ms. Peretti, to approach the microphone and explain why some lifeguards were only getting less than minimum wage while others received $14 per hour. Ms. Peretti did not actually get all the way up to the podium to speak, but Mr. Yetto did. Privilege of the floor is time for residents to voice concerns without instant rebuttal from the board or town employees. Laura Robertson, I apologize to you for my next comments. I appreciate the work you do for the town. Ironically, just 1 week earlier, volunteer members of several town committees, including me as a member of the Tree Council, received an email notifying us that we needed to be very clear when up here at privilege of the floor, that we were not speaking on behalf of the town or the committee on which we serve, but rather solely as a resident of Niskayuna. By extrapolation, then, it is not correct for a town employee to come up here to speak as a town employee during privilege of the floor, but only as a resident who has identified themselves as such and who is bringing up a resident's concern. The email also asked us to no longer give updates during privilege of the floor about what we were doing on our committees, and that those updates would be presented during the monthly smaller meetings held by the Economic Development, Historic Preservation, and Environmental Conservation Committee meetings. So I, as a member of the Tree Council, will no longer be telling you or the public about the seedlings we gave away during our Arbor Day celebration, about our goal to diversify the tree canopy in Niskayuna, about our enjoyment in talking to residents on Lexington Parkway when we discussed how to care for their trees, and about our lofty plans to finish an inventory of all the street trees in Niskayuna so that we can have a better idea of the health of our urban forest. Now, if the board goes through with the purchase, they need a resolution to limit the time we are up here, and they will spend $1,117 to get a timer, which means every person who has spoken before me, you would have been cut off 3 minutes into your speech. Think about that. Item 2, people who want to enjoy our green space at Mohawk River State Park, which has a trailhead at the end of Whitmire Drive in front of the wastewater treatment facility, have been having a difficult time using the parking spaces and accessing the trailhead because construction employees leave their vehicles in the park's designated parking areas, and because unused construction equipment is stored for days at a time in that same parking area. Now, I have repeatedly brought this to the attention of the former and current heads of the Sewer and Water Department, to the soon retiring head of the wastewater treatment facility, to the police, to the town board during small committee meetings, and here at privilege of the floor. I have also notified construction supervisors that their vehicles cannot be parked in or blocking the trail access in that area. Each and every time, I am assured that the vehicles will be moved and never put there again. A few days go by, and more construction-related vehicles appear. Niskayuna residents who don't live on Whitmire have told me that they have tried to access the state park, but were unable to park their vehicles because of lack of space, and so they had to turn around and go home. This is an active disruption of New York State resources. Taxpayers cannot access the park that they pay for. Several days ago, there were 3 construction employee pickup trucks and an unused flatbed parked at the trailhead, preventing visitors from parking there. I asked the construction foreman to move the vehicles, which he did. He then swore that the area would remain empty. Yesterday, there were 2 pieces of machinery stored in that area, and today there were employee vehicles and another truck blocking the access to the trailhead. I have notified the New York State Parks Department about this, and they were very concerned. They were also surprised that the town would actively allow blockage of the trailhead when Niskayuna has a memorandum of agreement with the New York State Parks Department to help manage the park. The town board needs to make sure that construction vehicles from the wastewater treatment facility no longer park there during the day or overnight in the Mohawk River State Park's trailhead access area. And I was going to be done, but after a meeting earlier today, I need to add one more point. The Finance Committee tonight, the meeting that was held before this meeting, the board discussed increasing the size of trucks bringing in waste from Pepsi to be treated at the wastewater treatment facility. They're going to increase from a 5,000-gallon truck to a 6,200-gallon truck. We have been told this 5,000-gallon number for quite some time now. But apparently, Pepsi realized that trucks don't come in a 5,000-gallon size, and they did not want to build a customized truck. The board thinks that this will be a good thing, that it will decrease the number of trips per day down Whitmire Drive, which is a very narrow street. But the math doesn't add up, because the town has budgeted $285,000 as revenue income from the business that they are starting in a non-commercial zoned area by accepting outside waste for a fee at the treatment facility. The town board and the managing company, ESG, kept telling us 1 truck a day at 5,000 gallons. Now it's 1 truck a day at 6,200 gallons. How much heavier do you think that weighs? The town says that the truck frame will remain the same size, but the unit above, the holding tank, will increase. The weight of the truck will definitely increase. We know that the number of trucks will have to increase also to meet the budget revenue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, dear ones. Thank you for a wonderful town. Thank you for a wonderful school. Thank you for a place to live. I have a request for you. Can you give us one more day in our senior center for our seniors, lunch, and real activities? Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone else would like to speak. And last call on privilege of the floor. It's still open if anyone would like to speak. Okay, seeing no one left who's willing to speak a privilege of the floor, I'm now going to close privilege of the floor.
I'm just going to say that the reason why sometimes we have had the department heads come up is that sometimes people come and they don't know why a certain action was taken, and they have part of the information, and we're not looking to get into a back and forth about people having different opinions about policies. That's definitely what privilege of the floor is about. But sometimes we think it's beneficial that people can get an answer right away from our attorney or from one of our department heads on why an action was taken, and they don't go home and they're wondering for a day or several days till somebody emails them back. And then that way everybody else in the room can hear, who heard the resident's point of view, why a particular action was taken. And that's why sometimes we'll call upon a department head or we'll call upon our attorney to just explain. So earlier, a ceremonial resolution was supposed to be voted on, and our attorney suggested that we pull it, and he can explain why. I actually had something prepared I could have said about Progressive Schenectady. I actually agree with them in ideology, but Mr. Briggs will explain why it is that he recommended that we could not do that particular resolution, and I'm going to ask him to do that.
And Mr. Briggs, did I ask you to pull the resolution?
No.
Thank you. But did I ask you to give legal advice to me about things that have been appearing on Facebook and to help with an investigation?
You did.
Thank you.
So I determined that the proposed resolution, the ceremonial resolution, was asking the town board to take action to honor a group that I believe has any sense of political connections, not to any specific party, but the town board cannot take action where they're approving or condoning or giving any sort of an award to any political group. Whether they are or not, my recommendation is that the town board has to be careful, and the safer action is to not honor anybody in that nature.
Okay. We're now going to head into our public hearings. I'm going to have the clerk call the first public hearing.
A public hearing regarding an application for a special use permit for an outdoor farmer's market at 2227 Knott Street.
Thank you. The first public hearing is now open. If anyone would like to make comment during the first public hearing, you can do so now. If you approach the lectern, state your name and address for the record. Yeah, it's the first public hearing for the farmer's market.
Lorene Zabin, 2455 Brookshire Drive. Well, I find this to be one of the most ridiculous public hearings and activities that the Niskayuna Town Board could ever aspire to. We have, and I guess it's what, 4 times a year, 3 times a year, I'm not quite sure. I didn't get a chance to read the resolution, which I find interesting. We're going to have a public hearing, and then you're going to vote on it. So I have to assume that you have prejudged all the comments that probably would be in favor of this. I'm not in favor of the town spending taxpayers' money to head up a farmer's market in the parking lot of our really wonderful co-op store. The other thing that I'm concerned about is, of course, having it on a Saturday. Lots of traffic, people going shopping, going wherever they go. That section, that little Four Corners section, is quite popular with the stores and Starbucks and what have you, the banks that close early, so people want to get all of their business done. I really don't think, from the first meeting that I attended to the committee that was approached on this idea, and it was Ben Wallach. Well, now maybe I'm not hearing the correct things, but I understand that Ben Wallach and the vendors that he had, of course, he wanted to use Niskayuna property, which frankly, I was against because of the police protection, accidents, the disruption of our lawns and things that would be caused by the people trampling. Well, now I hear that the town board has very willingly taken over this project, and I say, why? We have, I don't know whether the Union Street has started yet, but I know Schenectady has a marvelous farmer's market. And they have more interesting things than just vegetables. They have all kinds of activities, and people make quite a nice day out of it. I do want to mention that the other thought is that there are no local vendors in Niskayuna that are participating in this. Now, I did happen to read some of the committee people, and I noticed that you have several people that work at co-op, either in a capacity of board of trustees or governing board or whatever, and I'm sure that they think that this might help their business. I don't know. I do know that when I have parked in the co-op, unfortunately, I had a woman damage the passenger side of my car in the parking lot, which was fine. It was covered by insurance. No one was hurt. But it just doesn't seem to be the right place. And I, again, object to the fact that Niskayuna, you're going to have to carry liability, and I'm sure all other kinds of funds will have to go. You've not been upfront with us. The original meeting of the farmers market with a private negotiator, who was Ben Wallach, brought the idea to the town, and then the town just jumped on it. Oh, isn't this wonderful? It's just another feather in our cap, just like the splash park. Somebody said, oh, let's have a splash park, which we had to bond for. I really think you're getting out of hand. And I think the farmer's market right now is not a suitable place for the parking lot of the co-op. Thank you.
Thank you. The first public hearing is still open if anyone else would like to speak, as I lose my voice, so have patience with me.
So hi, my name's Beth Greenwood, and I'm at 1333 Hawthorne, and then you'll see my name on the list there for folks who are trying to help with the farmers market. I came into the process a little late. I guess it had been going on for a while before I was aware of it, and I'm fairly new to the area, so I'm still learning my way around. But I've lived in other places where we had some really great success with farmers markets, and I love the Green Market. I love the Troy Farmers Market. I thought it would be super if we could support something not nearly as grand a scale as those things here, but just something small that maybe we could try it out and see if it was something that would work here. There are a few local farms. We've reached out to them. They are enthusiastic about the idea. We're still working on organizing the vendors, obviously. It's only 3 times because we just needed to start small to make sure it would work. We've been working with the attorney, reviewing what we've been doing just to make sure that we don't incur any kind of liability for the town. I guess the ones of us working on it just really were hoping that we could just find another way that people could enjoy getting out together here in Niskayuna, and the co-op was kind enough to be willing to put their parking lot to use. So it may not be the best place. We'll find that out. We've done a bunch of thinking about it and tried to make sure that we've got safety in mind and space in mind, and tried to deconflict traffic issues the best we could. But I'd really, I hope it does work, and if it doesn't, if anybody has ways to make it better, maybe next year we can do an even better job. So I really appreciate the town board considering this as a small start, and I hope maybe it can be successful. So thanks.
Thank you.
I didn't mention my name. My name is Elizabeth, 423 Anthony Street, Schenectady, 12308. Again, the farmers market is a wonderful God-giving opportunity for Niskayuna, as well as all people like us. We cannot go too far. This is going to be, please help all of who are present here. It's going to be a wonderful event, I think, for coming years. And we have local vendors like Mushroom Man and the Jewelry Girl, and you should see their beautiful videos. And we will be expanding, hopefully, by the grace of God, it will be expanding. So thank you for your help and listening. Thank you.
Thank you. The first public hearing is still open if anyone else would like to speak. And last call on the first public hearing, still open if anyone else would like to speak. Okay, seeing no one else willing to speak during the first public hearing, I'm now going to close the first public hearing. The second public hearing, if I'm judging the room correctly, have we decided that we are going to postpone the second public hearing?
I guess that would be right.
Okay.
Yeah. Call.
Okay, so I'm going to have the clerk call the second public hearing.
A public hearing regarding the proposed Town of Niskayuna Turf Management Program.
And I'm going to ask to table this hearing to our meeting on the 20th, if that could be possible.
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor of rescheduling the second public hearing to June 20th, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed to rescheduling? Okay, we're going to now hold that second public hearing for the turf management plan on June 20th. And before we move into our resolutions, if my voice can stay just long enough, I do have a really quick statement that I need to make in compliance with our code of ethics. As many of you may know, our town is negotiating a cable TV franchise agreement. One of the potential vendors is Spectrum. I've chosen to recuse myself from the process due to the fact that a sibling of mine is an employee of Spectrum, though the sibling does not directly benefit from any franchise agreement. In order to avoid the appearance of impropriety, and because I take our town's ethics code very seriously, I am recusing myself from this process. So pursuant to our Code of Ethics, Section 17-5, and on the advice of counsel, as a member of the town board, I am required by the Code of Ethics to publicly state for the record that I am recusing myself from the cable TV franchise negotiations. So this is my public statement on the record in doing so. And so now we're finally going to get to our resolutions. We're going to begin with Resolution 2019-166, sponsored by Supervisor Syed and Councilwoman Weber. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to establish a farmers market committee.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I would like to thank Ms. Greenwood and Mrs. Paul, who have come tonight, and everyone else who's volunteered their time to get this initial trial market off the ground. It's been a labor of love and a combination of efforts from our town and our local co-op. And we're going to start small with 3 dates in July and August and September, second Saturday morning at the co-op. And we've been troubleshooting along the way and getting the necessary documents in place for insurance coverage and the rules and regulations that the vendors need to follow. And I think that it will be a very nice place for the community
to gather, but it wasn't just because we wanted a market. It was because the supervisor had brought this idea up last year. We had another person in mind, but he was no longer interested. We had polled the residents of the town, and we had about 500 people responding, and the overwhelming majority of residents indicated that they wanted some sort of farmers market in Niskayuna, and that's the reason why we're doing it. Again, I'd like to thank everybody who's volunteering to be on this committee, and I'm looking forward to it being successful this year with our small trial.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
I do like to thank the parties that have been putting this together as well. Farmers Market have a proven track record of bringing the communities together and really supporting the local farmers and the local producers in the community. So generally speaking, it's a very good thing to have a farmers market. The last vendor that we tried to use just did not work out. He didn't have the necessary tools and the necessary things that had to be put into place to insulate the town from liability. I think this location, as long as the co-op feels it's a good location, they know this location better than anybody. Hopefully it should work out well, and we're looking forward to a successful farmers market, and hopefully in the future, if there's any changes to this, we certainly will listen to them and make them available.
Thank you.
Hi,
Is there any
Donna
further
Evans
discussion?
from the co-op
Hi,
board,
Donna.
and this may be the wrong time to say this, but you had mentioned the location, and you also had mentioned the location. And the co-op is very excited to partner with the town and with the committee members to provide this space for the farmers market. And we were very thoughtful about this before we offered this space. We love being in this collaborative position. We are a community hub in addition to being a store, and we have experience in running community events in our parking lot. Just over the past couple of years, you might remember the chili cook-off. This past year, we had between 250 and 300 attendees, and it was on a Saturday at that prime intersection during that prime time, and it was very successful, and it went off without a hitch. The hours of the farmers market are going to be in the morning between 8:30 and 10:30. That tends to be a quiet time for the co-op, so there won't be a lot of competition between customers and attendees at the farmers market. So I just wanted to address your point about the location and the timing. So thanks again. We look forward to working with all of you to make this a success.
Thank you. Are there any further comments?
Could I have one more comment, or am I off?
Sure. Keep it pithy.
Your co-op board's not only a state road, but a county road. There's also a fabricated sign that says you stop when people are crossing from the co-op to the parking lot. I'm sure you all have seen that. And most of us who are beyond the age of walking too fast take our time and push our little wagons. I am concerned. As much as I don't know these people, and they probably have wonderful products, but the fact remains that we are not a little podunk town out in the boonies. We have access to many markets, wonderful shopping areas for food, be it Whole Foods, Right Foods, Town Foods, whatever. But who are the vendors? Who are these people coming in for 2 hours and setting up? You have all pre-decided you're going to do this. You have 12 people on a committee. I hope they all get along. I've never known a committee to be quite that big. But, and for 2 hours, it seems like an awful lot of work. And I do think that there should be an accounting to the town, the taxpayers, as to what this is costing us. Insurance, accidents, all kinds of dilemmas that could happen. Now, rainy days. I mean, you're having it seems like a lot of work for 3 markets a season. I don't know where you're coming from. Is it because somebody asked you and you don't know how to say no? What was Nancy Reagan? Just say no. No, we can't do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further comments? Okay, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-167, sponsored by Councilwoman Weber. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to set certain fees for vendors for the farmers market.
Thank you. Can I get a second? I will second.
I just had a question about actually the sponsorship on this.
Sure.
The supervisor, you're not sponsoring this resolution. I had the impression you and Councilwoman Weber were working on all of these things together. So was that an omission?
Yeah, we were. I can put myself on it.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, so we have.
I didn't know if it was an omission that you were, because you seem
no,
to.
not
you
intentionally.
were conducting all the meetings and everything, but you're saying yes on, you're going to co-sponsor this with Lisa?
Yeah, I didn't author this, but we have a motion and a second. I seconded, so Councilwoman McGraw, would you like to make a motion to amend?
I'll happily make the motion
Okay.
to amend to add the supervisor as one of the sponsors of the resolution.
Okay. I'll second your motion to amend, and we're going to add Supervisor Syed to the top. Thank you for catching that. Are there any other amendments? Okay, so on the motion as amended, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
Okay, 5 ayes on the amendment.
The amendment passes, and now we're going to vote on the resolution as amended. So will the clerk please call the roll on the resolution as amended?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-168, and again, I'm losing my voice, so just have patience with me. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to authorize the supervisor to enter into a revised contract with VMI Recyclers LP for the treatment and disposal of liquid organic waste.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I just want to briefly say, and this was one of the reasons why we had to have Mr. Yetto take the podium during a couple of the Privilege of the Floor sessions. We do want to be factually correct. We've had some wild things being said during Privilege of the Floor about the wastewater treatment plant itself and about this contract. So that, I believe, was the purpose of having our department head come up during that time. However, I think in the future, we will wait till after Privilege of the Floor to have our department heads come up and factually set the record straight. That being said, I vote in favor of yes.
Okay. Are there any further comments? Okay, I would just like to say that, our town board has generally understood that we were going to be accepting between 0 and 5,000 gallons per day. That was the previous contract. It is stated such on our website. So I'm going to have a very tough conversation with the group that we've been working with, which is the Energy Systems Group, because they actually put us in a really bad position, all of us, not just me. It's unacceptable that they gave us the wrong information, whether they were aware of that or not. It turns out that trucks don't exist in the 5,000 gallon capacity. In my opinion, they should have known this, so this is something that I'm going to have a very tough conversation with them about. With that being said, as the chief fiscal officer of this town, we have budgeted a certain amount of money. We have benchmarks that we have to meet. We have to start a pilot program, a 90-day pilot program that the DEC has to approve in order for us to even get this thing up and going. We have bonded in the multi-millions of dollars for this project. So in the interest of fiscal responsibility, that's what I see as, something that's very important with, what I have to do as the supervisor. So as much as I don't like that this seems like a last-minute beat and switch, and I'm not happy about it, but at the same time, I put I accounted for a certain amount of revenue, we have to collect that, because otherwise rates are going to keep increasing for the ratepayers. That's unacceptable. And we have bonded so much money for something that really should be happening. We can't bond that amount of money anticipating that it's going to be functioning in a certain capacity if it's not. So, are there any further comments? Yes.
I just want to echo the supervisor's comment. This wastewater treatment plant needed to be upgraded. This has gone on over 10 years. I see Lorraine, longer, shaking your head. We were under a consent order. The plant had to get fixed and repaired. And this project started prior to my being on this board and some of the other board members on this board. And we're just trying to get this project up and running to the benefit of the residents of the town. That's what's important. I appreciate your candor about the remarks and echo those about the truck size and these other things, but we want to try to get this project up, get the plant up, and get it running to the benefit of the residents here in the town.
Thank you. Are there any further comments? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-169, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to award a contract for the repair of the Avon Crest sign.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second,
Any discussion?
I'd like to thank Councilwoman McGraw's work and her committee's work on this, trying to get our sign at Avon Crest repaired. Thank you for this work.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. We're now going to move on to our ceremonials. We're going to run through these quickly since we already presented them. We have Resolution 2019-170, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. If I could get a second.
Second,
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-171, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Can I get a second?
second.
Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-172, sponsored by Councilwoman Weber. Can I get a second?
Second,
Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Last resolution, 2019-173, sponsored by Councilwoman Weber. Can I get a second?
second,
Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Now I entertain a motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Thank you. I will second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're now adjourned for our special meeting. If anyone would like to stay, we're holding our agenda meeting. Yeah. Have a good night for those leaving. Okay, now going to call our June 11, 2019 agenda meeting to order. We're going to begin with Laura.
Number 1 is a resolution for final approval of a special use permit for a farmer's market at 2227 Knott Street, Niskuna Co-op. That would be a follow-up to the public hearing. So we took comments on the special use permit tonight, and the follow-up resolution to that is scheduled for June 20th. Just to clarify, the resolutions we took action tonight were just sort of logistical to set up in the event that everything goes well. Number 2 is a resolution entering into a contract with Niskayuna Co-op for a farmer's market that it would be a follow-up to the special use permit and would be required in order for our operation of the market. Any questions on those? Okay. The number 3 is a resolution to award a street tree master plan. We have Weston and Sampson has been working with us on this for quite a while. We reduced the scope, double-checked it with Highway Department. It came in at $3,500, which is half of what we had originally proposed. So we think we'll be ready for that on June 20th, and that's exciting. Number 4 is a resolution to purchase an EV car for the building department. There's currently a grant out by the DEC that would allow for a $5,000 rebate on all-electric vehicles. There's some timing issues with the grant that Paul has noticed, so we're going to work with Janet tomorrow and see if it can be on the 20th. If not, it'd be on July, and hopefully in time for that rebate. I'm trying to, the water and sewer garage needs a car, but I would like to, you guys all know this, move the town to never be buying gasoline cars again, ever, if I run the world. But at least for this part, there's a rebate out there. It's a little bit, I mean, we're not spending a lot of money. We get a brand new vehicle. There's a $7,000 rebate from the state and a $5,000 rebate for NYSERDA, and then we can reuse an existing vehicle and start building a carbon emission-free fleet. So hopefully that will be done by the 20th, but not, it will be July. Number 5 is a resolution awarding a contract for Aqueduct Park bathrooms. I spoke to the engineer about this today. It's not ready, and I apologize. I know everybody asks me about the bathrooms all the time. I know. The reason that it's not ready is because he's got an architect working on the exterior design. So I'm hopeful that the delay is actually just going to make it more aesthetically pleasing and fit into our park better. So if you guys have a little more patience, we'll bring that in July. Number 6 is a resolution to further define the duties of the town historian and to establish a town historical committee. We've been working on this a lot. I know there was just a couple little things that they wanted to change at the end of the last meeting, so I think I'll be ready for the 20th. Number 7 is a resolution appointing members to the Capital District Community Choice Aggregation Steering Committee and calling for a public hearing on a local law entitled "A Local Law to Establish a Community Choice Aggregation Program in the Town of Niskayuna." This is something that we did pass a resolution of interest in a year or two ago. We've had local Niskayuna residents working on it, and it's kind of aggregate purchase of electricity, which would hopefully be less costly to our residents and also green. So they've reached a point where we have the critical mass now to actually start this process. And the first part that we have to do is enact a local law which would allow it to happen. Still not binding, but it would allow for us to move forward with a committee of the communities that are interested in aggregating with us. And it's also to the point where we would be looking at contracts and taking steps to review what kind of packages and options the town could look at. So I would like to be on that committee. I am not super technical, so I talked to our comptroller, Paul Sebesta, who is very good at energy contracts and has been negotiating with Mega forever. And if it pleases the board, we were thinking we can kind of tag team. So when there's contract meetings, we can send Paul. And if it's sort of community outreach and warm fuzzies, we can send Laura. Anyway. So that would be my recommendation for appointing members. And then, I don't know, do you guys have any questions on that? There's a community meeting on it. We've had a couple in the past year, but there's one at St. Cattery. The one on Rosa Road, St. Cattery, and that's coming up. I know we did a blast on the town board. I can't remember the exact date, but please check the website. That's out there. We've got a lot of really good people who understand it that are good to listen to. Great. Okay. The number 8 is a resolution calling for a public hearing on the expansion of the Metroplex boundaries. We've had Metroplex helping us a lot with vacant homes and some other things that are very beneficial to our town. Vacant homes obviously detract from private property, I think we could benefit from expanding the boundaries a little bit more so they can help us deal with revitalization, not just in our commercial quarters, but also protecting our neighborhoods. They're great to work with, and we've been looking at continuing our relationship with them. So we could call for a public hearing on the expansion of Metroplex boundaries on June 20th. And then we'll be holding the public hearing in July. Number 9, a resolution for final approval of special use permit for a religious education facility at 2501 Troy Schenectady Road. I think we all probably know that the applicant came back with a redesign. The applicant held 2 community forums seeking input on the new design. It's a project that's been looked at by the planning board, and it's been looked at by the town board, and the special use permit with conditions would tentatively be put on for June 20th. I don't know if you guys, you want to take these, or you want me to do them? 10, 11, and 12 are calling for a public hearing on district extensions for Harmon Grove subdivision. That's the subdivision off of Schwaber and Riley Way. They need to go through their district extensions, and you would just be calling for a public hearing on those for June 20th. See, that's bad. Did you guys have any questions? Okay.
Thank you. Okay, next up, Matt Yetto.
I have a few resolutions that are going to be pushed to next month, but I have 2 additional ones too that just came up more recently. One is a resolution to permanently appoint Ryan Cogden in our water and sewer crew as a maintenance worker. He's completed his probationary period. We had an evaluation and we're happy, and I'd like to move that forward for next meeting. The next resolution that wasn't on this list is a resolution to award a design contract for replacement of the water main on Mohawk Road and a portion of Rosendale Road. I have a request for proposals going out to engineers tomorrow morning, and we should have a number in before the next meeting so we can try to move that process along quickly and catch this year's construction season. Any questions?
This is for the Mohawk Road, obviously, with the water main break that we had there.
Yeah, it would be looking at the entire stretch of Mohawk Road from the intersection of Rosendale up to at least County Clare, and a portion of Rosendale Road between Mohawk to a valve that we have a couple hundred feet up the road. It's the worst section that we have. It's high pressure. It's a 20-inch water main. So failures on that main can cause issues, so we'd like to try to work with the county. In the past, we had a little bit of resistance because it is a county road and it's a large main, but we have good cooperation with the county right now, and I'm looking forward to meeting with the county tomorrow morning actually to discuss where we would like to place a main.
And that's a really old pipe there.
It is, and a lot of the pipe is good, but we can't know for sure where it's going to fail because it's just pockets of corrosive soil, and having the high pressure there makes the issue more catastrophic when it happens. So there's no way, we've done tests in the past, we've dug it up and tested it, and areas that we tested were good, but to safely say that we replaced 200 feet of it and we'll be fine, it's not realistic at this point. We're just looking to replace the entire section. Probably about 4,000 feet of it.
Thanks, Matt.
13 on the list, it's a resolution that we have ongoing. If we get any applicants for the transfer station, I'd like to hire one additional person. The 2 guys down there right now are doing very well. Just one extra person as a backup in case someone wants to take some time off. 14, I'm going to skip and move to next month. 15, we have an ad in the paper starting tomorrow for plant mechanic / equipment operator at the sewer treatment plant. we were trying to work around and see if there was an active list with civil service, but there is not. So we're just going to go out and advertise and look at our applicants, and hopefully we'll have one for the meeting. If not, we'll move to the next meeting. If we did get this position filled, then we would be fully staffed at the wastewater treatment plant, the first time in a while. So I don't see any more retirements coming, and the guys that are working there are great and like to move forward. 16, I'm going to move that to next month as well. 17 and 18 also, we're still working on the numbers. There's no need to have the reconciliation for the water billing this month. We were trying to go ahead month ahead, but we'll be okay next month. 19 is a resolution to appoint summer interns in the engineering and water and sewer office, and possibly one additional summer worker for the water and sewer crew. Josh Hawley has 2 interviews this week with applicants. He has 3 applicants in total. We'll hire 2 interns and then one student worker. 20 is the resolution that was just something that was missed. Kathy Persons in our office has, a few months ago, successfully completed her probationary period. She's worked with us for many years. She's a great talent. I'd just like to get the resolution to appoint her permanently. 21, we bonded for a new backhoe for the water and sewer maintenance crew. We have a price off of Sourcewell or the purchasing agreement that we have for just over $120,000. We bonded more than that. So I'd just like to go ahead and get that approved to make that purchase so that we have it for the winter when excavations become more numerous. 22, this is we were going to purchase a SUV or a van, small Jeep for the water and sewer office, but Laura mentioned that she's looking to get an EV vehicle, and we would take the extra vehicle and building. So this resolution is no longer necessary.
Okay.
And that's all I have. Any questions?
Just not anything that you commented today, but I know I've spoken with you a couple times about the shape that the fields are in Blackneck Park. Has there been anybody to take a look at that, to maybe do a feasibility study on if we can improve the drainage on a couple of those fields, maybe with an easy fix, at least on the one that's higher up? I know we can't do anything for this season, but I'm thinking maybe for next season.
I don't think there's been time to do anything more than just try to maintain it, but I can speak to some people if
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
I already did it, so it's
Oh.
Condon.
Great.
So, yeah, I did it. Beginning. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Great, thank you. Ray is next.
Resolution number 23, a resolution to appoint summer staff to the Highway Department. If I get a couple additional names, I'd like to put them on as well. We have some started already, about 2/3 of them, so we're moving forward, but I still have a couple open spots. Number 24 is a resolution to purchase a dump truck, plow, and sander for use in the Parks Department. I would like to say collaborative effort between Ken Williams in my department and Janet Wynn in the Comptroller's office. This truck spec was written off an open bid. Between the two of them, they put it out to mini bid and they saved us $10,000. So just a little bit for their efforts that they did. It's every time we've mini bid, we've saved money, but this was a significant one. So just like to give thanks where it's due.
Thank you. That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Lori Peretti.
Number 25 is a resolution to appoint additional staff in both the pool and the playground. We had a couple people at both locations that have taken other positions, and we had to fill vacancies. So, and luckily, I had people to backfill. So,
Thank you, Lori, and thanks for all the work you're doing.
Thank you.
Going through, 100 civil service packets, 150.
150.
So thank you.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it.
Any questions? No? Okay.
I don't know, maybe for Lisa, there was a comment by one of our residents about the senior center lunches.
They want an additional day.
They
I
want
went out
an
and
additional
asked her.
day of,
Okay.
of lunch. It's a budget issue. So if we
Okay.
get an additional day to hire our chef,
Okay, thank you.
then we can add a day. I would love to. We're open a third day now, but we just have snacks in the morning on Friday and activities. But if we can budget for lunch, I would love it. I would absolutely love it.
Thanks. Paul Sebesta.
Oh. I get a little surprised. Okay. 26, where am I? Budget modifications, 27. There's a,
We skipped over to.
Oh, we
The
skipped the
chief,
chief.
I don't know.
I thought you were going to do that one.
I can
Yeah.
fill in. Okay, I'll fill in for the chief. It's not worth coming up.
Yeah.
So we have a fine new police officer that's ready and recommended by the chief for a permanent appointment. Am I speaking for you? Yes. Okay. Okay, 27, resolution for, to approve budgetary modifications. There's a short list right now, early in the year. One is recognizing some additional grant money for a capital project that wasn't fully recognized the last round when it was put on, and there's some minor insurance overages on some lines. Overall, we did save money with our insurance renewal, but we need to tweak a couple lines that went over. One thing we did discuss that isn't on here that I think we need to address, we talked in finance about purchasing some pollution liability coverage. Paul, our attorney, maybe could advise me. We had a resolution authorizing our package policy. This would have normally been incorporated in that, so I'm thinking we might want to modify that original resolution or authorize this separately.
Is it the same company?
Yes.
Still Chubb?
Well,
This one was Chubb, right?
it's Chubb. It's not the same company, but it's through Marshall and Sterling. I don't know how that
Same agent?
resolution. Yeah, same agent.
Then we'll just modify the previous resolution.
Okay. All right, good. 28 is a resolution to authorize the sale of certain surplus equipment and vehicles. There's some random office equipment, copiers, printers, and a police vehicle from the impound lot that is ready for sale. 29 is authorization to approve the bond counsel pertaining to the bond anticipation note. The legal work involved for that, it was approximately $8,600. 30 is a resolution to modify the purchasing policy. We did get several comments from department heads, and we're going to continue to work on that and hopefully come up with a policy. It's reviewed periodically, annually is best, but it went into effect in January of 18, so we're a little over a year now. 31 is to a resolution to further define the town's parliamentary procedures as they pertain to privilege of the floor. So that is up for consideration. 32, a resolution to adopt the standard workday reporting resolution. This is a New York State retirement system requirement. If anyone's efforts change or a new employee's hired, we have to establish that on the reporting resolution, adopt it, post it on the town's website, and we had a change in responsibilities of the legal department, so that's being taken into consideration. And that is it. Any questions?
No.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
I just have one last question.
Oh,
I was sorry
sure.
that the chief did not come up because I was going to ask him a question. I know what we all just watched made great theater. But Chief, last week, before there were any articles in the newspaper, had I reached out to you and Paul Briggs about my concerns about things that were appearing on social media? Yeah, okay. I just want to make everyone clear, and I guess apparently I need to make an appointment to talk to you further about, but I came to your office and I've discussed these things with you, right? Thank you.
Are there any further comments? Okay. I'm going to make a motion to adjourn, if I could have a second.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, we're adjourned. Have a good night, everyone.